In an age where we're more connected than ever, why does it feel like loneliness is taking over our lives? It isn't just an emotion, it's becoming a global issue, affecting millions regardless of age or location. Recent studies show that loneliness has doubled worldwide in the last few decades. It's hitting the young and the elderly the hardest. But while this issue affects us all, there's one country where this matter is becoming a silent killer, changing society as a whole. And that place is Japan, a country where a growing number of people are feeling more isolated than ever. Known globally for its breathtaking landscapes and technological prowess, Japan is confronting a deeply personal crisis that is less visible but increasingly impactful. As we peel back the layers of Japan's polished exterior, we find hidden undertones of alienation that are affecting all levels of its population, from bustling Tokyo to the quiet countryside. In Japan, the phenomenon is not new, but its scale is expanding. Loneliness here isn't just about being alone, it's about feeling disconnected in a society that values harmony and uniformity. This issue ties back to deep-seated cultural and societal norms. From the pressure to excel in schools and workplaces to the rapid aging of the population, Japan's unique challenges contribute significantly to the growing sense of loneliness. Let's dive further into the driving force behind this crisis and why it's something the whole world should be paying attention to. Having outlined the broader context, we'll explore the specific factors that contribute to the loneliness in Japan specifically. There are 6 main driving factors that play a big role in this epidemic, and they are anything but easy to fix. In Japan, navigating social interactions often involve balancing hone and tatemae, one's true feelings versus the public facade. As someone from the Netherlands, where directness is honestly a national virtue, this concept fascinates me. This cultural norm of not expressing one's true feelings can lead to suppressed emotions and a sense of confinement. The societal pressure to avoid burdening others with personal issues promotes solitude rather than harmony. Japanese work culture is notorious for its demanding hours and high expectations. The pursuit of excellence at work often comes at the expense of personal relationships and leisure time. This has led to a phenomenon known as karoshi, or death by overwork, highlighting the extreme isolation that can occur even in busy corporate environments. While technology supposedly connects us, in Japan it sometimes deepens seclusion. Many young Japanese increasingly find companionship in virtual worlds rather than traditional social interactions. This trend isn't limited to social media. It extends into anime and gaming. For example, games like Love Plus, a dating sim where players foster a relationship with a virtual girlfriend, highlight how digital connections can substitute for real ones. This shift can reinforce detachment, making digital interactions feel more manageable than their unpredictable real-world counterparts. Japan's demographic shift is also a contributing factor. With one of the fastest aging populations in the world, many elderlies find themselves living alone. The youth, meanwhile, often move to urban areas for work or convenience, leaving behind a rural elderly population that's increasingly isolated. Fellas, go visit your grandma. She would love it if you stopped by again for once. Loneliness is also visible in the housing sector. Japan's capsule hotels and tiny apartments that are designed for solo living reflect and reinforce the solitude many individuals prefer. The people living in the far outskirts of a city or in the countryside are hit the hardest by this sudden change, resulting in many older vacant houses being left for dead or demolished altogether, which causes the loss of valuable traditional Japanese architecture, basically getting rid of its rich history. The pressure starts early as well, with students facing intense competition from a young age. The focus on academic success often limits social development and can lead to withdrawal symptoms known as hikikomori, where individuals shun society entirely, sometimes remaining in their homes for months or even years. Beyond hikikomori affecting the youth, there is an increasing trend of social withdrawal among adults who fail to integrate into the corporate world. This withdrawal isn't just a refusal of work, it's a sign of deeper social disconnection. These factors, when combined, create a complex web of loneliness that affects millions across Japan. It's clear that the issue is not just about individual choices or technological impacts, but is deeply fixed in Japanese society. But that's not all, unfortunately. All the aforementioned issues extend far above and beyond the average hardworking Japanese citizen. The personal anguish of isolation is deeply troubling, but the ripple effects it casts across the nation through society and health are equally significant. The mental health of a nation deteriorates with rising loneliness, as seen in Japan, where isolation strongly correlates with spikes in depression and anxiety. This isn't a temporary sadness, but a potential gateway to long-term mental health disorders that can harm lives. Physically too, the impacts are stark. being just as lethal as smoking or obesity. It increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and premature death. Economically, the cost of loneliness is manifested in reduced productivity and escalating healthcare expenses. On top of economic instability and demographic challenges, the financial burdens of a lonely society are simply too significant and are felt across daily business operations and national healthcare. And the societal fabric is also strained. Social withdrawal phenomena, like hikikomori, disrupt cohesion and continuity entirely by staying indoors 24/7. Moreover, loneliness is reshaping entire family structures, threatening the intergenerational ties that have supported Japanese society for ages. A problem on this scale reaches far beyond the individual, touching upon every aspect of societal health and wellness, forming a complex array of challenges that needs careful navigation. As daunting as these impacts are, however, they are not unfixable. Addressing loneliness requires more than just understanding it. It demands active engagement and practical solutions. Japan is fighting back with innovative strategies ran by individuals and communities. These ideas can be used to inspire actions all around the globe. For instance, various initiatives have been launched, from community-focused programs to national campaigns. Rent-a-Sister programs help provide companionship to hikikomori sufferers, offering both social interaction and emotional support. Additionally, the Japanese government has appointed a Minister of Loneliness to address these issues at the highest levels of policy making. Communities across Japan are creating more inclusive environments through social cafes and local events that encourage people to connect over shared interests. These gatherings are particularly aimed at integrating the elderly and remote workers, who are at a higher risk of isolation. Japanese companies are increasingly recognizing their role in mitigating the problem. By adopting more flexible working conditions and supporting mental health days, they contribute significantly to their employees' well-being. Lastly, while technology has been a double-edged sword, new advancements are harnessing its power for good. Social robots and companion apps are being developed not just for entertainment, but as to help foster connections and provide company, while simultaneously teaching people how to be more social. So as innovative as these solutions are in Japan, the challenge of loneliness isn't confined to any one country. It's a worldwide issue. So this brings us to a crucial point. What can we, no matter where we are, do about it? It starts with recognizing the loneliness around and within us. Reach out to those who may be struggling. Engage in community activities, whether it's a local book club or a neighborhood gardening project. If you're feeling isolated, take the step to seek professional help, or join online forums and social groups with shared interests. Every one of us can be a beacon of connection. Advocate for a better work-life balance at your workplace. Support local community efforts, or volunteer your time for those who truly need it. These small acts, when multiplied across millions, can transform universal alienation into a pandemic of compassion. The fight against loneliness is still ongoing, but it's filled with hope. By adopting these practices, both inspired by Japan and tailored to our own communities, we can all contribute to a more connected and supportive society. Remember, the opposite of loneliness isn't just the mere presence of others. It's the meaningful connections we foster with them. Let's continue to build those bridges, one interaction at a time. Alright, now that we've traveled from the personal corridors of loneliness in Japan to the broader global landscape, we've uncovered both the depth of the problem and the wide array of solutions. Loneliness, as we've seen it, is not just a personal issue. It's a difficult challenge that affects millions across the world. But the journey doesn't end with awareness. It begins with action. I encourage you to take a moment after this video to reflect on your own connections. Reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while, or perhaps start a conversation with someone new. Every small interaction counts in building a new world where no one has to feel alone. And if you found this video enlightening, or maybe if it resonated with you, then please share it with others and comment your thoughts down below. Spreading awareness and encouraging communication can ignite change. And together, we can turn the tide. Never give up! Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the stuff that really matters, don't forget to subscribe to Takoyaki Boys. That way you won't miss out on any future chats. Let's keep this conversation going and keep connecting. It's the only way we're gonna make things a little better for everyone. Sayonara.